Thursday's game review. Doing things a bit differently this time. So it's me and Joe. Instead of doing everything on Mondays, we're going to split it up throughout the week. Thought, hey, maybe we can schedule in something a bit different. Maybe we can try swing things out. Let us know in the comments if you prefer it this way or if you guys prefer to do everything all in one go on a Monday.
Yeah, because on the Monday, as you guys know, we have our regular streams, which are gonna continue. We ain't stopping the streams, guys. Don't get your knickers in a knot, as they say. We're gonna keep up with the streams, all right? So, but we're just thinking something a bit different, so that the streams don't go on for an eternity on a Monday night. But breaking it up every now and then into these small little videos over the round, nice distilled action. And today we're going to be talking about what happened last night on Thursday between the Blues and the Cats, Big J.
Oh, mate. There's a few players that were pretty influential in this game. You had your Cripps, you had your Doherty that let a few people down. Mate, Tanner Bruin, he turned in the Heartbreak Kid. Normally the Heartbreak Kid is the one that gets all the girls and breaks their hearts. Mate, he broke the hearts of every single person that decided to hold him in round two. Boy, oh boy, this guy, he's got a lot of questions to answer.
He does. He absolutely does. Because when you look at the team lineup, so we saw what happened the game before. We spoke about it. Oh, you got Cooper White as the sub. Cooper White on debut. He plays halfback. They said about Bose, we'll play a little bit of inside mid, but primarily they're going to use him in places where he can have his good ball use be on display. You got Brandon Parfitt is dropped, the guy who was going to sub in for Bruin. You're expecting things are lining up. The stars are aligning. It was raining that day. George Hewitt was out with injury. Carlton's midfielders weak. You'd think this is the time. The time is nigh for Tanner Bruin. And what happens? 62% time on ground. That's what happens. Oh my God, that was the worst. That was terrible.
It was almost a mirror of what happened last week, remember? He disappeared and then he spent half the game on the bench. He disappeared again and spent half the game on the bench. I didn't even know this guy was in the team. I thought he was the Medi sub and he went home, stopped in at Macca's on the way while the game was still on. Come on, Geelong. How can you? I reckon he gets dropped next week. I think if Geelong did not have their troubles, if Joel Selwood was still in the team, this kid would be gone. That's it. Back to VFL for you, mate.
He was meant to be the next Joel Selwood. He was meant to be. He was brought across from GWS. Come back home, son. Come back home. Geelong, the village, the beach, the team, the culture, all this. Only for what? To start forward and never got into the game. 10 touches. Like we thought last week was bad with a 56. Yeah. Man, give me that again. Give me that 56 again. 43 fantasy. You know what I mean? Like it is nothing good about this. Holding him for another week, you can sort of think makes sense. But you know what? It all comes down to Chris Scott is a fraudulent coach. He only won that flag last year because his brother was a GM of football at the AFL, and they did the tinkering behind the scenes. Chris Scott isn't the real Scott. Brad's the real Scott. It's been exposed. What is this nonsense?
Oh, mate. He's one of those players that after round 3 is going to go down in price. It's probably him, Liam Jones, and someone else. These kids, you just don't know, right? Coming over from GWS, you think, oh, yeah, he's ready to go. They played him. Good preseason. Boy, oh boy, as you say, 10 disposals. In this game, though, we can see why Jack Bowes was picked up with pick 7. Oh, wait. Geelong got Jack Bowes and pick 7. Like, come on, man. What is this? Comes out here, 20 disposals for a 108. First game in the colours in the official game. Boy, oh boy, this guy. Oh, man. I'll be happy if he's in my team. I think a lot of people considering bringing him. Looking at the stats from last night, I think there was 450 people that traded him in. You have to have some guts to do that, right?
I'm never one to jump on someone on their first game. You never know what's going to happen, especially with him coming off, calf concerns. He had a calf injury so close to the start of the year. You must have really hated Liam Jones to do the Liam Jones, the Jack Bowes pick. Like, you must have really absolutely hated the hell out of Liam Jones for you to make that move. Look, I might make that move next week, to be honest. But even then, I don't know, because he plays for Chris freaking Scott, who doesn't know what he's doing. He moves gut because he started like a house on fire. Jack Bowes, all the kick-ins, all the points in the first quarter, he was over 50 points. He was over 50 at quarter time. He was on track for 200, but then he was moved out because Guthrie was getting tagged. So they sent Guthrie into defense, and they kicked out Bowes. So, like, I don't understand why you would move Guthrie into defense and not instead give freaking Tanner Bruin more inside mid times. The kid is a midfielder. The kid's a midfielder. He can't do anything on the outside. Like, he is clearly in and under player. He's great below his knees at ground level, feeding handballs out. Instead, they park him on a wing or a half forward where he's got no outside run. I don't know how I can bring in Bowes. I just don't trust Chris Scott to do anything.
Yeah. I mean, like you're saying, right? He came in first quarter, it was on like 40. End of the second quarter was on close to 70. Ends up on a 108. So, as you say, Chris Scott's lost his marbles. They're 0-2, getting roasted by Fox Footy in every single bloody news report that's coming out. It's like, what's happening? Pre-season, oh, man, just hit the bubble, and then they've partied too much in the pre-season, Joe. I just don't know what's happened. Tom Hawkins is fat. Jeremy Cameron's trying to carry the team. Guy kicks 6 goals and they don't win. I don't understand. It was a different story, though, on Carlton's team. Coming into this, Blake Acres, rookie, well, not rookie, but the recruit from Freo, dominated the game. Adam Sard, recruit from Essendon a couple of years ago, dominated the game. Matthew Kennedy showing us why he's the bigger player now. Ed Curnow got delisted, comes back, still scores a 105. You've got your Nick Newman there, and then your Paddy Cripps. Now, I'm sorry, guys, that I told you to pick Paddy Cripps in my captain's video as your VC. He looked really good, and then he came out and scores 100. I just don't understand. At least he did better than Doherty on 73. Boy, oh boy, what a shitter.
Man, Doherty also looked good. Doherty had a decent game, but he got burnt so much. Like, my word, that you'd think this guy was on trial, freaking a witch trial in Salem or something in America. He was burnt that bad. My God, it was burnt at the stake. I swear, that was such a... Like, why would you spend $600,000 for Sam Doherty when you could pay $166 for a guy like Ollie Hollands to go you the same? You know what I mean? Like, it's a wonderful thing being able to pay up $500,000 more to get the same score. This has been a terrible start to the year. Any player I've got, guys, do your best to just go against that. Don't listen to me, because even Cowan, Lockie Cowan, bro, got 51, whereas Tanner Bruin on 46. Look at Cowan's freaking time on ground, 72 compared to the 62 from Tanner Bruin. Like, that 311,000. What a joke. And all those on Asava Radagalia. Hopefully there's no R2 Galias out there. If you have R2 Galia, then just delete the app. What is this? 93 time on ground for 31 Supercoach points.
I think Tim Mitchell's got him, but he does have a loophole with Darcy Cameron, so it doesn't look as bad. Got to field one of Green and I think Davey or someone on there to kind of fix that. But as you say, Doherty he got relegated to the midfield. People took his kick-ins. People pushed him out. Got relegated to the midfield. Got kind of harassed a bit in there. Ends up on a 73. I'm like, Doc, halfway through the game, you follow me on Twitter, right? I'm like, Doherty needs to lift. Third quarter, Doherty needs to lift. Something's wrong. Call the doctor. Oh, wait, he's playing. He's just playing shit.
Yeah, this was a really tough game. The Cats, once again, really taking it slow. Honestly, Jeremy Cameron cemented himself. Jeremy Cameron cemented himself as one of the greatest, absolute greats of the game. You know what I mean? Like, 150 Supercoach, 20. He's a key forward. This guy's a forward. 22 kicks, 3 handballs, 8 marks, 2 tackles, 6 goals, 1. Bro, he had 7 clangers to this score. He had
He plays
7
really well.
clangers to the score. Like, the guy is a gun. It was the Geelong Camerons. It wasn't the Geelong Cats because they were all pussies that night. Excuse the French. This guy was the only one putting in the hard yards, working up the ground in defense. How many times did you see him going back into defense and spoiling the ball? This guy, he's got the heart symbol next to him because he played all heart. Whereas I keep coming back to this guy, and I don't. It's not his fault. It's not his fault that he doesn't have a
It's all
tank.
his fault, man.
It's not his
Players
fault that he doesn't know how to
only
run.
accountable to themselves, Joe. The coach can't
It's
make them play better on field. If they're shit, then they're shit. That's it.
What do you mean? If he's not a winger and he's not a half forward player. It was already shown in the preseason games. He had 77% time on ground in the Pracky game. What is this? 68 and now 62%. He's getting worse. Next week he's going to be in the 50% for the time on ground. He has to go. And unfortunately, you watch. Next week he's going to score 120 because Chris Scott's going to realize, oh no, I'm playing him in the wrong position. But that will be too late for us because it would have tanked our ranks and then we have to waste the trade to get him out. I hate Chris Scott.
From my team anyway, so I don't really mind. Before we head off, guys, Doherty's not in the bad position. Some people are looking at swapping him out for a couple of players, downgrading him. I think it's just a bad game. Sard, yes, has been taking a lot of that back line. He's taken a lot of his run and carry, but Doherty plays other ways. It's just a bad game from him, I reckon. So luxury trade if you've got nothing else left to do in your team, but wait and see.
My word, this really was the year where if you were playing just sheer value and you didn't pay up for anyone expensive, because everyone expensive is just tanking in price, like it's insane. So if you play in heavy value this year, congratulations. But I wouldn't be laughing now. It's not he who laughs first; it's he who laughs last. And don't you worry, the Doc will bounce back. He doesn't have 2 terrible games in a row. I think it was a bit of a victim of the fact that there was no George Hewitt as well, in addition to no Walsh. And like I said, he was burned so much by his fellow teammates. This Blake Acres guy, don't get me wrong, he looked all right. He scored well, but this guy is a burn man. He has players that you want him to pass the ball to. He won't pass the ball to them. I don't like him. I think he's overrated, and I don't like him. Just it is what it is. I don't like. So many times he could have passed it to Hollins, refused to. So many times he could have passed it to Cowan, refused to. Could have passed it to Doherty, refused to. He hates every player I've got in my Supercoach team, and as a result, I hate him. Sorry, Blake, you're never going to be in my team.
You heard it here, guys. Joe hates Blake Acres. He hurts all his players in his team. That's it. No more Blake Acres. He could be super uber primo. Must have for the year. Nah, Joe hates him. That's it.
Never.
All right.
Never again.
Well, guys, that's our review of the Thursday game, Carlton versus Geelong. If you loved it, let us know in the comments. If you didn't like us, let us know it too. We're trying to get better here on the channel. We're trying to do better, take on board what you guys are saying. Remember, we've got our Supercoach group. I'll put the information for that down in the description as well. Any final words, Joe, before we head off?
Yeah, don't listen to me. I know nothing apparently at this point. Go anti-Joe and you will be perfectly fine. I'm doing VC bonds into green. Take that as you will. We'll see you in the next video. Remember, at Centre Bounce, we do the hard work so that you don't have to.